Drake is the biggest fraud of our generation.
Alright. I don't know how in like a month and a half like what? But like I was saying, alright, a month and a half, like not in a month, but like in a month and a half, everybody switched up on Drake in that month and a half, bro. Like, how did that happen, bro? Everybody before that, Drake greatest of all time, Drake this, Drake that, Drake the best, Drake not like, and now it's BBL Jay-Z. There's nobody like Jay-Z. It's like nobody like. I'm like, bro, y'all, what are we doing, bro? But let me see what he got to say.
Generation. And I don't even like saying that. I mean, I've been a semi-passive Drake fan since 2009. But since this Kendrick beef started, I've been going back and looking at not only Drake the artist, but Drake the person, and things are a lot worse than I could have imagined. I've been going down this rabbit hole for weeks now, and I have found some dark shit. So let's get started.
Man's never been in marquee when it's shut down, eh? Trust me, daddy.
The sad truth I've realized is that Drake is the #1 artist in a culture that he doesn't understand and has no interest in trying to understand. The truth is, Aubrey Graham is the polar opposite of the street rappers that he associates himself with. He is a Canadian child actor that was raised by a white Jewish woman. He is not whatever 21 Savage's childhood was. I'm assuming it was rough.
It's really been my whole life, really, since I was born, you know what I'm saying? I've been involved with the street.
And as a fellow suburban, I am the last person that's gonna try to shame somebody for having a childhood like that. But Obs, when you put on 15 chains and a pair of Timbs to go shoot the worst behavior video so you can look tough and use a black kid as your poverty prop, I have to make fun of you, I'm sorry. It's so obvious that this is just a cornball who's paying for street cred, because we've all been reminded that this is who Drake really is.
Well, I'm more tired.
So what's up? You didn't get your sandwich.
No. Didn't.
Want to talk about it?
No. Get out of here. I didn't get my sandwich. I was looking forward to a nice tuna sandwich on a bagel.
Tuna sandwich on a bagel.
Clearly said, hey, can you please get me a tuna sandwich?
Oh, I thought you were kidding. Because you don't.
Oh, yeah, because
you don't.
I definitely pull a joke.
His voice sounds the same, exactly the same.
I'm just a regular comedian over here. Get me a tuna sandwich, Just joking.
Remember?
Now, whether he's trying to get this street cred to further his career or because he feels inadequate as a man, I don't know. But either way, it's unacceptable.
The greatest advice Wayne has ever given me, and it's a constant, it's less of advice and more of a constant reminder, which I love him so much for saying this to me, is, you know, he's always just like, man, please be yourself. Please don't ever try and be me or anybody else.
The thing dead and trust me, headshot them bomber.
Don't ever go get tattoos. You don't have to dress any different, you know, because I like from the day Wayne met me to now, I haven't changed anything about myself.
Aubrey, what happened? You can tell me. Wayne, why would Drake?
I'm not the one to make excuse. I'm not on nowhere near making an excuse for Drake or anybody else. But I'm saying, as you get older, bro, things do change. Like sometimes you find new things, you do other stuff. Sometimes people go gay. They figure out they gay. So you get older. I know it's gonna sound like I'm making a big excuse, but I'm just saying, as you get older, some things change. Like people start realizing, oh, I like this too. I like this. You realize you start painting his nails. Some people like everybody like, oh, I like painting my nails too. Like, bro, you just never know.
Be himself when he can just pretend to be a bunch of other people, because this is what Drake has become over these past 10 years or so. He sees a culture that has a buzz and that he has no genuine appreciation for, and attaches himself to it like a leech for clout, validation, and financial gain. He did it with the UK scene, the reggaeton scene, the Caribbean scene, and now the Atlanta scene. Nothing about this dude.
But the thing is, they've been saying Drake was a culture vulture though. And I ain't gonna lie, Meek Mill almost got Drake up out of here too though. When they came up with the Ghostwriter stuff, and then Pusha T almost got him out of here too with the releasing of the baby. But hey,
it's authentic, including his abs apparently, which is hilarious. It's so funny that he hasn't addressed the fake ab thing. No one's even talking about that. How sad is the day where you have to walk into a doctor's office for your fake ab surgery? Holy shit, that's pathetic. You're one of the most successful musicians of all time, and you're going under the knife for a fake six-pack. Like, you still need more confidence? You can't believe in yourself enough to just, like, be like, well, whatever. But you know what's even more tragic than Drake's lack of self-confidence? Having your identity stolen. And that's why I'm so proud to have Aura be the sponsor of today's video.
That's where I skip. I'm proud of you for getting your bag, but that's not my bag, buddy. God dang.
He said this dumb shit.
Appropriating is taking it for your own personal gain and denying that it was ever inspired from this.
What about when he took Drum's song, calling it the Cha Cha remix without reaching out or anything? And then once the song started getting traction, he actually changed the name so he didn't have to associate his success with anyone else.
Just a little shocking because it came out as like the Cha Cha remix. You know what I'm saying?
As is, not really Hotline Bling. At the time,
right.
At the time, it was the Cha Cha remix.
2 weeks. So, I don't know. It's just really weird. I ain't getting no reach out, no nothing, or whatever.
And then when Drum,
that's crazy. I don't even know nothing about it.
Instead of dealing with it like a man, he sicks his bodyguards on him like a pussy ass supervillain.
Hey, somebody tell Drake to shut the up about that. He never even touched me, nigga. I pressed his ass. Bodyguards, goddamn. I ain't gonna hold you. His bodyguards. But his bodyguards in, not his ass.
It just goes to show that it's always about him. I mean, how can you say you care for the culture and then have lyrics like this?
You've got my mind in a terrible place, whipped and chained like American slaves.
My mom would fly across the country to beat my ass if I ever even considered putting some shit like that in a song. What is wrong with you? And you can't even use the excuse like, oh, you know, he's young and ignorant. He wrote this as a 36-year-old man with a child or 3, possibly. An article written 9 years ago about how you have a 2-year-old daughter? What? I'm sorry, you don't get to make pretend rap music and then use black people as an aesthetic when it's convenient for you and say this in your music. Aubrey, I'm gonna need you to pick one. And during this Kendrick beef, Drake's made even more songs that are just as bad, if not worse. In Taylor Made Freestyle, Drake had fake Snoop Dogg say this crazy shit.
I know you never been to jail, orange jumpsuits and shower shoes. Never shot nobody, never stabbed nobody, never did nothing violent, and no one, it's the homies that empower you.
Do you realize how gross that is for a privileged Canadian child actor to tell someone from Compton that they're not hood enough because they've never shot or stabbed anyone before? The level of disconnect you have to actually say that out loud and think it's good. Drake believes that shooting someone is what makes you black because his only real connection to being black is what he hears in the superficial bullshit music that he listens to.
Oh, Lil Wayne is just too good.
Which is fine. No rational person is gonna hate on you because you were raised by white people. It's not that deep. But your lack of self-awareness and extreme levels of arrogance are what led to this public ass beating.
Oh my gosh.
And side note, who in their right mind would get into a rap beef with Kendrick Lamar when you're this much of a fraud? I would be sending that dude free verses every month just to keep him happy. Especially when I know I'm a pervert? What's wrong with you?
No, I'm not gonna lie. This video was insanely crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was crazy.
And the third thing that this horrible AI verse tells us is that you don't know anything about Kendrick Lamar because nothing about him is trying to act hard or street at all.
From Compton, I could have easily came out and said, I did this, I did that. I done killed a whole bunch of niggas out in front. That ain't me. I'd rather talk about my reality. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather talk about something a little bit more deeper than that.
If anything, he's probably done more than what he alludes to, which is the opposite of what you do, which is why this whole thing was so ironic, Mr. Tuna Bagel. And on the next song, Family Matters, Drake does the exact same thing. He does it twice in a row.
You know who really bang and set my nigga YG. You know who really bang and set my nigga Chuck T.
You know who really bangs the set? My nigga YG. He really bangs. Yeah, they really bang. Yeah. Black people, am I standing right? Is this right? Is this cool? Am I cool? Am I strong? Am I a man? Daddy, am I a man?
Bruh.
Daddy, am I a man? Gross. I can literally feel your insecurities seeping through the screen like a gay virus. Please get a hold of yourself.
Whoa.
And become...
Wow. Oh, this what month? Wait, it's June, right? Yeah, it's June.
a better person.
Sometimes, like, you know, some of like my blackest friends can be just as cruel on the other end, you know, by making you feel excluded, or making you feel like you can't get in on this. And sometimes I do feel like, sometimes I don't feel celebrated when I know maybe somebody else would be celebrated for those accomplishments, you know? I don't feel like people say when Drake is the artist of the decade, I don't think anybody says, wow, a black artist is the artist of the decade. I don't think anybody says that, really. I never heard anybody say that in the last few weeks.
See, Drake, this is why so many black people refuse to acknowledge your blackness, because you'll be the one to perpetuate every single negative black stereotype, from the drugs to the violence to the misogynistic shit. But anytime there's a chance for you to speak out against any sort of injustice or any social issues in your music, you never do, because you want to appeal to the widest demographic possible. You've proven over and over and over again that you'd rather be a...
But it is, what Drake did is smart though, when you think about it. Go to the reggaeton, the Hispanic with Bad Bunny, did a song with Bad Bunny, did a song with the... I mean, to get to the top where Drake is at, I ain't gonna lie, you gotta be a culture vulture. Like, when you think about it, Drake is worldwide, bro. Everybody in the world damn near knows Drake. From you go to Mexico, you could go to Asia, you could go to you go to Mexico, you go to China, you could go to the US, you could go to Haiti, you could go anywhere. They gonna know Drake because somebody got a song with Drake in they vicinity.
Corporation than an artist, which is fine, but you have to realize the choices that you've made and deal with.
That's what makes them like the world's biggest artist.
Artists do. And my friend, you haven't been an artist in a long time. Most of the music you've made over this past decade has been vapid and forgettable.
But I hate grilling his ass though.
I'm sorry. Drake, you are 37 years old. You should have figured out by now that buying the 5th purse for the Instagram model who fucked half the Houston Rockets basketball team probably isn't going to be the best way to her heart. I outgrew your lyrics when I was 17 years old. You are almost 40. Why are we still on this shit? I'm no life coach, but I think it's a good idea for you to maybe take some time off of the music and work on developing as a person, okay? Because you have the personality of a 16.
I ain't gonna lie, you're 37. It's no developing as a person. It's no more developing as a person no more. All these people that be older people that be like 30, past 30. If you're past 30, it's no more developing, my boy. Like, unless you're talking about rehab or something like that. But developing into a better person, bro, you are who you are. You're a dirtbag already, but just wrap it up. You are who you are. Just embrace it.
18-year-old bisexual frat boy. I bet that all your fans would prefer for you to come back in 2 to 3 years with a great album instead of just putting
I ain't say that. I ain't say all that now.
Every 6 months.
My top 5 is Drake.
Well, maybe not all your fans, but most of them. And speaking of your fans, Drake, we're sending out cease and desist letters for people breaking down your lyrics.
I got a cease and desist from OVO for that video. All I did was break down your lyrics, Drake. I don't know what the problem is.
Very slimy, very corporate move, my friend. Now, I know I've been shitting on our boy Aubrey here for a while now, but I do want to give him his props. He is somebody that has accomplished so much in a genre he was definitely not supposed to succeed in. I can't even imagine how much that would hurt when everybody that you looked up to thinks you're a corny ass bitch, and they say that shit about you publicly.
I don't like anything about Drake. Mom, I don't like his voice. I don't like what he talks about. I be trying to tell his face. I don't like the way he walks, like nothing. I don't like his haircut.
You know, like, that's really gotta sting. But he kept getting up and he kept making music, and that is truly admirable. That's something we could all take from Drake, honestly. Okay, now back to shitting.
And more tune for your head top, so watch how you speak on my name, you know?
Drake's history with street life has always been incredibly fascinating to me. And look, I know that hip hop and gang life have been linked since the very beginning, but if there was ever a rapper who should have been able to avoid that path, it'd be this guy.
Huh? You're not that anything or that intriguing?
No, I'm an anomaly.
Did you have trouble saying that word?
I don't know why I did.
Try it again.
I'm an anomaly.
Good job.
I didn't want to overpronounce it like that either. I'm an anomaly.
But from what I've gathered, Drake really is in that life. Well, I mean, kinda. It's still Drake, but you'll see. Drake was actually first discovered on MySpace by a guy named Jazz Prince, who was the son of Jay Prince, and Jay Prince is basically like the kingpin of hip-hop. See, Jay Prince is one of those guys that when you come to his city, you definitely need to check in. And if you check in, everything should be fine. But if you don't check in, you're gonna have some problems.
I got your keys to your Rolls Royce. I got your keys to your McLaren.
But Jay Prince and Drake are very close.
Dang, he did that? I mean, I didn't know he was... Bro, all this checking in, check in, check out, check up, check back, all this stuff, bro. That's kind of crazy, bro. I come in to see, I gotta call you. Or you gonna take my McLaren or my Rolls Royce, bro? Like, that's like some grown-up bully type shit, bro. Like, you're that old, you're talking about checking in, bro.
Close that during the Meek Mill beef, when Drake performed back-to-back in Philly, Meek Mill had 100 to 200 goons outside ready to beat some Drake ass.
We 100, 200 deep, dream chasers. You gonna press this nigga Drake. He disrespectful.
Jay Prince was the one who came outside and de-escalated everything. He also stopped the feud between Drake and Kanye and Drake and Pusha T. Drake and Kendrick, not so much, but hey, you know, you can't win them all. Next up, we got Chubbs, Drake's right-hand man and head of security. This man, Chubbs, allegedly beat up a producer named Detail who didn't want to sign an exclusive deal with Drake, breaking his jaw and putting him in the hospital. And Detail actually ended up suing Drake, but because he didn't show up to the court date, the lawsuit just ended up getting thrown out altogether. And Detail has never spoken of this since, so this is all very interesting, very odd information. It's alleged that Detail was afraid for his life and that's why he never showed up to the court date, but hey, you know, I wasn't there and I'm definitely not getting sued by some bitch with an owl logo, so I don't know what happened. This is a man who has allegedly beaten up civilians for wearing anti-Drake clothing in Toronto. What anti-Drake clothing looks like, I don't know, but that's pretty crazy if that happened. See, Chubbs was part of that Canadian gang life before he elevated to being Drake's #1 henchman, and even ended up bringing some people into OVO that he used to run with, like Baka Not Nice. Drake's self-proclaimed goon.
He didn't label me as his goon. I labeled myself as his goon.
Who is technically signed to OVO. Remember, he's the guy with that one song.
Louis pouch across my body, this is not for fashion.
You know what else he's got? Sex trafficking allegations and a plea to assaulting a 22-year-old woman. But hey, if he's good enough,
like people in your circle that do stuff like that, you gotta get rid of them immediately because they're gonna fall back into your name, bro.
Drizzy, he's good enough for me.
Call him. I'll message him at 3 in, you know, when I come home from the studio and just be like, yo, you know, I bless you, you know, father. I call him father, you know, like, and that's just a sign of respect, you know, in Jamaica, you know. And I'd be like, yo, you know, respect that, you know, because, yo, you gave me a chance, you know.
You call your friend at 3 in to thank him randomly and call him Dada. Interesting. We also have Drake's longtime connection to the Halal gang with his cosigns of people like Moji and Safe. Speaking of Moji, he's another person who spoke out against Drake in his camps, saying how they had him and several others writing flows and hooks for Drake's next forgettable album.
Have you ever heard in the history of hip-hop a man that gives away his creativity and helps make Billboard hits but doesn't get paid $1 for it, one credit for it, and he's stuck in the hood?
And next thing you know, he's beaten up and sent to the hospital. Very interesting how this pattern keeps happening. Drake, I just love how he just cares so much for the small artists. Isn't he just a great guy? And then of course we can't forget about Drake's #1 shooter, Top 5.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh shit.
For the record, this is someone who became famous for taking shirtless selfies, but who am I to judge? I mean, no one said this man is the sharpest tool in the shed. He did just tell himself to tens of thousands of people, totally unprompted.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh shit.
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting him.
But you know, when you're the leader of the Go Get 'em gang, I guess you just move a little different.
Wait, what's GGG? Go Get 'em gang. Go Get 'em gang. I
think I remember this stream.
Shot us when it comes to Toronto.
Go Get 'em gang? Are you a bunch of Scooby-Doo villains from 1963, or am I missing something? Bloods, Yakuza, MS-13, Go Get 'em gang.
One of these things is not like the others.
It's so disgusting to me that Drake is using his money and his fame so that he can live out his little Godfather fantasies. Like, can't you just learn boxing or something? We all understand that you struggle with your masculinity. It's as clear as day. But I promise you, there are healthier, less destructive ways of dealing with these issues. You know what I mean? Like, do you have to use poor black people as your little chess pieces so that you can feel adequate as a man? Drake is the prime example of what happens when you let your insecurities control you and turn you into something.
I ain't gonna lie, he just grilled his ass for 18 minutes, bro.
Smaller artists, someone who will have artists.
And I'ma still listen. I was still listen to his ass when he dropped.
From your city, oh, I care so much about Toronto, blah, 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 who will have those artists jumped because they make Instagram posts, allegedly. And ultimately, this goofy ass behavior has led Drake to have the worst public ass beating I have ever seen. And honestly, I think it's a win for humanity. I'm gonna be real. I think that's what a great artist is supposed to do. They're supposed to say, hey, this part of our culture, I know it's popular, I know we all love it, but this...
All right, yeah. All right.